City Theater. Thank you again so much for sharing your time with us. And before we begin, I'd like to go over some brief information about the show and some brief house rules for the theater itself. The play you'll be seeing today is a 2-act performance, and there will be a 10-minute intermission in between both acts. Additionally, we would like to ask you as gracious guests of the theater today that any trash you may have, please place it in the proper receptacle before you leave the theater today. And if you have any liquid left over in your cans or bottles, please empty them before placing them in the recycling bin. The show you're about to see today does feature some use of prop firearms along with accompanying gunshot sound effects and some mild flashing light effects. Before we begin, Triple M Productions would like to thank the Motor City Theater for graciously offering to host our production. We are so appreciative and thankful to be here. And we would appreciate it greatly if you could give back and consider telling your friends or family about the show you saw here today, or maybe even consider purchasing some concessions at intermission so that we can support the excellent work that this theater does for the community. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to take a brief moment to silence your cell phones and any other electronics, and out of respect for the actors on stage, we'd like to ask that you please refrain from the use of flash photography during today's performance. But I've kept you far too long already, so without further ado, let us return together to 221B Baker Street.
Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, are you Miss Foucault?
I am. I don't mean to be forward, but the matter is most urgent.
Yes, I was just reading your letter. If you may, please be seated and we can begin.
Thank you. But may I, Sherlock Holmes?
Observing, madam, observing. Your case has been quite engaging. Why, it has taken precedence.
Even over the prince's case?
Watson, focus.
Of course, yes, forgive me. I must admit, Miss Foucault, the vagueness of your letter has left me quite perplexed. What has happened?
It has to do with...
Indulge me in a few inquiries. First, when did you and your brother delve into that profound and mystifying branch of science known as physics?
We were both children. We've always been fascinated with understanding the world.
Ah, and you are the more experimental of the pair.
Yes, he was the more theoretical one.
Holmes, I fail to see the reasoning behind this line of questioning. In her letter, Miss Foucault stated this was a matter of life or death.
Ah, it means everything, Watson.
Her brother has been kidnapped. Kidnapped? Madam, surely you've gone to the police first.
Yes, but they aren't able to move at a quick enough pace.
When was he taken?
Around 8 o'clock this morning.
And quite a long time has passed. Tell me, how are you so certain he hasn't been kidnapped?
Oh, the note, please.
Here you are, Holmes.
Not you, Watson. The ransom note that Miss Foucault has in her pocket.
It's rather crumpled. I've read it several times.
Ah, well, it is cheap paper. The letter has been hastily written. The author was in a hurry. Though the word choice indicates one who is accustomed to making demands. Well, it is rather straightforward. Would you meet us here tomorrow morning? Ah, and one other question. What exactly was your brother studying?
He was looking to unify the theory of quantum mechanics with electrical and magnetic currents. In particular, identical and parallel wavelength structures that would indicate duplicate universes. I have his notebook.
Thank you, Miss Foucault. But maintain a firm grasp on that notebook and trust that we will not give the malefactors anything.
What should we do, Holmes?
Leave at once. We haven't a moment to lose. A direct affront to the demands is the only way. It will be a long night and a longer case. You are quite prepared, Doctor. You do have your revolver.
Always.
Yes.
I did not expect you so soon.
I'm sorry the matter couldn't be helped. Is Sherlock Holmes in?
Yes.
Excellent. May I speak with Holmes at once?
Well, I can try fetching her, though Holmes is a bit particular about her routine. You see, she was asked to address another diplomatically challenging matter. Give me one moment. Holmes, a Miss Evelyn Foucault's here.
Has she no sense of propriety? I am knee-deep in the middle of research.
Please, she looks quite upset.
They always do.
Be a bit more considerate.
Very well. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon.
I'm rather busy. Equations, ink stains, and a plumb bob. A physicist. Shoes, stuffed and dirty. In a hurry. Notes in the pocket. Kidnapping. But who? No ring. Your brother.
I beg your pardon?
Keep up, Watson. It's as obvious as the nose on your face. Brother was taken because of his research, and now she wishes for us to find him.
Miss Holmes, I implore you to aid me. My brother was taken around 8 o'clock this morning.
Have you contacted the police?
I have, but they won't help me. They think I'm mad.
For reporting your brother is missing.
It has,
I shudder to think of the officer would draw such a conclusion.
it has to do with our research. It delves into the possibility of multiple realities due to the predicted eigenvalue solutions of electromagnetic equations.
And the note?
Oh, yes. I believe I forgot to show you the letter.
Watson, ever ready to pay a kindness? Pay attention. I was referring to the note in Miss Foucault's possession.
It's from the kidnappers.
Person of influence, clear signs of anger, and all on cheap paper. We must hurry, Miss Foucault. I trust you have the documents in question.
But I hope to have lunch.
There is no time. Sate yourself with the thrill of mystery.
Mrs. Hudson's deviled eggs would do far better.
We haven't a moment to lose.
I have his equipment and notes, his Holmes, and his notebook.
Splendid. We will need time to forge them.
Forge. I begin now to see what you were planning.
We must ensure that our ruse is perfect. The life of her brother hangs in the balance.
My brother was dead. I had thought Sherlock Holmes to be infallible. I, like so many others, had read the stories that Watson wrote and became enamored with the exploits of Holmes. I thought if anyone could save my brother, it was Holmes. I watched as he deduced facts about me and put the pieces together. But then, Sherlock Holmes failed. Why? What was wrong? I didn't know what to do, so I turned to my research. I had long speculated that there were infinitely many universes. All one needed to do was to harmonize with another, and one could travel there. When Holmes failed, I did what I had to do. I traveled to another universe. I thought this time things would be different. This time, Holmes wouldn't fail. My brother would live. I traveled to universe after universe. Each time, I watched as they got closer. Each time, I watched. But no matter what, in the end, every single Sherlock failed. Why? Why weren't they trying hard enough? Then, like a lightning bolt, it hit me. If one Sherlock Holmes couldn't solve this, perhaps two could.
such a mess? How could one person generate such vast amounts of untidiness? Mary should be here. Oh, come now. Just wound us. It's already 3 hours slow.
3 hours fast. Holmes? Is that you? I thought you had to catch the train.
I beg your pardon, but who are you and how did you get in here? This is a private residence.
I would ask the same thing, sir.
You mentioned Holmes. Not one of his agents, are you?
His? Oh, no, I think you are quite mistaken. Miss Sherlock Holmes is who I was referring to.
What are you playing at? I shall ask you once more. Who are you?
I am Dr. Jane Watson. Who are you?
I am Dr. John Watson. Don't like it? Nope, I don't like it at all.
If I understand what you are implying, you know Sherlock Holmes. But he is a man?
And I suspect from your hesitant tone, you also know Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, but she is a young woman. I live with her here in this flat.
As do I. At least I did. After I married, I moved out. I'm about to say, borders on the insane. You're exactly like me.
Similar, yes, but there surely are differences.
Yes, of course. Forgive me.
Please, I'm simply trying to help you understand.
Yes, this must all just be an unlikely coincidence.
Yes, of course. We merely share the same surname. Watson is not a common name. From there, we have similar professions. I'm a general practitioner. Surely you're not as well.
I am a general practitioner. Let us simply take a moment to collect ourselves.
Yes, there's no benefit in exciting oneself. Were you in the middle of something?
I was expecting my wife. We're house-sitting while Mrs. Hudson's away on holiday. Sherlock went off on his case, and we decided to spend the afternoon together.
Here in Baker Street. If I were married, I can't imagine choosing Baker Street as a romantic spot.
Mary is a wonderful woman. She loves hearing about the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Anytime we get together, she's always asking, what was it like? What did you see? How did you escape? Though she was involved in the case herself once. Twice, actually. Like many of the fans, I believe she's become enamored with the daring Sherlock Holmes and his mysteries.
She's become a fan, has she?
Yes. You know, I didn't think they would get along at first, but I was wrong.
Tell me, Dr. Watson, what are her favorite parts of the stories we write?
We write.
Yes, I've dabbled as well. I occasionally jot down the odd adventure Holmes and I encounter. I found much of her work fascinating. You didn't answer my question. What are your wife's favorite parts?
I couldn't really say. She's interested in how the cases are solved, what we saw.
She asked you to describe what it was like. I imagine she's a very intriguing woman.
No, she is an incredible woman. You'll get a chance to meet her, and we'll sort this entire case out.
The case of the multiplicitous Watsons and Holmes.
That is far too wordy of a title.
Where is Holmes? Perhaps the detective has decided not to take my case.
Trust me, Your Majesty.
I'm not on the train. No one can know my identity.
Forgive me. I was merely assuring you that Sherlock Holmes did indeed board the train.
You're correct. It's just my nerves getting the better of me. But with a matter so grave, how can one not worry?
All will be solved as soon.
Well, I must say, it's an interesting location for a meeting.
Excuse me, this is a private train car.
All the more reason it is a poor choice for a meeting place. My good man, where we secretly discussed, but in a private car. And good heavens, a mask.
You misunderstood me. This is a private car, and I was politely advising you to leave.
Yes, I know, I am Sherlock Holmes.
Preposterous.
My good woman, Sherlock Holmes is a man.
Seems this case will be easier to solve than I envisioned if such simple facts elude you. I am indeed Sherlock Holmes.
This is impossible.
private car and a train. And as if they thought that was enough to make it so.
My thoughts exactly.
Ah, and the mask. Oh my.
What is the meaning of this disturbance? Who are you?
He's a detective. Arrogant, but brilliant. Who does not care for royalty, and yet, judging by the sheen on his shoes and the starched collar, still wish to appear proper. Hardly out of respect. More to make an imposing impression upon his summoner.
How on earth did you know that?
Because I observed. I am Sherlock Holmes, and it is my business to know what others do not do.
Whatever process this is, it must stop now.
Do be quiet.
And who are you to tell me what to do?
I am Sherlock Holmes.
Then you must know.
You, boy. You, on the contrary. You are also a detective. Well read. Ah, a fan of Shakespeare. What a pity. You also dabble in books that few others would appreciate. Why, sometimes staying up quite late to satisfy your curiosity. There is an abundance of vigor in you, not only for writing facts and scientific analysis, but fiction as well.
Surely you can see sounds very
Oh, do be quiet. Your voice is grating. I have written the occasional monograph on tobacco ash, and another pamphlet on the revealing details of one's gait, and the deep wealth of information one can learn from word choice and grammar in a person's writing. Fiction is a hobby of mine. A colleague once challenged me to write after I critiqued her method. I took to the activity, and well, now I see it as a way to explore psychology. You are no stranger to this, Mr. Holmes. You do appear rather surprised, a state fairly uncommon to you. I take it you prefer mathematics. Also, what is wrong with Shakespeare?
Well, I find him boring. Inventing a few words and running rampant with emotional climaxes hardly makes one a superlative writer.
You fail to grasp the most intense interplay of beauty and tranquility in the written word. Shakespeare expertly reveals, like Mimosa, the human soul.
Ah, but the vivid and varied character development of Chaucer is unmatched. Ah, how potent is the fancy. The people are so impressionable, they can die of the imagination.
The devil can cite scripture for his purpose.
Though she be but little, she is fierce!
This is impossible. They cannot both be Sherlock Holmes.
Does not make any sense at all. Only Mr. Holmes was asked to assist me, my lawyer.
Royalty. They think they are the most important and interesting element in the room. As for mathematics, I have often found calculations to be an invaluable tool in understanding and predicting the world. Numbers also have the wondrous feature of being unable to lie.
Interesting. Personally, I've never been stimulated by them. Too predictable. Do you think we should deal with His Majesty?
Only if we must. It would appear, Your Majesty, that you have the honor of addressing two Sherlock Holmes.
Two Sherlock Holmes? Holmeses?
You've overtaxed him.
Oh, that's hardly a feat.
Hardly. His Majesty appears bewildered.
How do they know who I am? Why bother to hide what they've already deduced?
Why, indeed. Now, be seated so we can make it to the heart of this matter before the train line is concluded.
I was a crown prince. I'm not to be ordered about.
Your Majesty has evidently made questionable choices as of late. Do not make another by alienating the only people capable of helping. Do as I said and sit.
Oh, please, state your case in the most succinct manner, mind you.
I am to be married and crowned king. The bride will only marry me so long as my reputation remains without question.
Ah, so there is evidence to the contrary.
There are letters.
And who is in possession of these letters?
A woman with whom I spent some time. She is on this very train. Holmes, one of you must persuade burn the letters by any means.
You would suggest a direct affront. Take the letters by force! Oh, how very patrician of you. No.
Why take the letters by force when you can achieve the same with less danger? Your Majesty clearly has few scruples of legality. Was there a secret marriage?
No,
No legal papers or certificates?
none.
Then I fail to grasp your logic. If this woman were to produce these papers, how is she to verify their authenticity?
Well, there is my handwriting,
Put forth forgery.
my personal stationery,
Stolen!
an official seal,
Imitated.
my photograph.
Bought!
Well, she and I are both in the photograph.
Oh, this is very bad for your Majesty.
Indeed, your Majesty has committed quite a legal indiscretion. I presume buying is out of the question.
Thus far, she has refused 3 offers.
Since the marriage has not been cancelled, we may safely presume that this woman has not informed your intended future wife. Would you indulge me by allowing me to assist in this case?
And what would be the point? I'm more than capable of resolving this myself.
Ah, but that would be boring. You are as interested as I am in the fact that there is another Sherlock Holmes. Why, that is the true mystery, not this paltry affair.
I beg your pardon.
It is an apt description, behaving with such reckless abandon. Very well, let us work together. You are most assuredly not boring.
Now, I beg you both, do not leave your cabin until we are finished. Why, it would be a folly on your part. Yes, well, the woman's name.
Evergarden. Violet Evergarden.
Thank you, good day.
Good day!
Well, you are inseparable. In respect for royalty or not, you would think you had never met anyone of import.
No.
Miss Evergarden's compartment is just over there. The matter is rather straightforward. She is in possession of a valuable item. Given the nature of the good prince, I think it reasonable to assume that she would expect to be waylaid.
No doubt she would not have the item on her person, lest it be taken. No. It is safely hidden away. The challenge is to have her leave the compartment long enough for us to procure the item. A distraction!
A cry of fire would force her to leave in such a hurry that she would not be able to take her belongings.
A simple bucket with some papers, a match, and a sprinkling of water would be more than enough to achieve the desired effect.
You certainly are no Watson.
That is a singular statement. You'll forgive me if I call your mind to it later. The bucket we shall place over here.
Splendid. The smoke is nearly at the door. Now, if you'd be so kind as to join me in a cry of fire on the 3. 1, 2, fire! Come now, we can do better than that. Again. Fire! And now, we watch. There, did you see it? How fortunate we are that she looked back.
Yes. The grain release. Top shelf. Why, if it is anywhere, it is there. Unfortunately, it appears she has still been cautious. The door is locked.
Hardly an inconvenience. One must always be prepared. Now is our chance.
Excuse me. Yes, you there in the hall. Would you kindly inform the conductor that there is smoke coming from that direction? Oh yes, no, I believe it is a fire. Thank you, sir. Kindly inform them. Bless you. Bless you. Try a little to the left with the pick.
Yes, and a bit more terror in your voice. Panic is the enemy of rational thought.
Madam! Madam, I smell smoke! Oh, good God! Run for your life!
Doubtful. It's an inferno! Good heavens, the people!
Quick as well, I see.
And just like that, we have what we sought. Now, let us dispose of this distraction and allow the conductor to restore peace and order.
No doubt he was busy taking a break.
They always are. If only people use their minds.
Ah, they never do. Logic is rare.
A crime is common.
See, ordered about like eine kleine Kinder.
Very courteous.
I am the crown prince, soon to be the king. I am not told where I can and cannot go. I tell others.
How right you are.
And there were two of them. I thought there was only one Sherlock Holmes and a man, no less.
Such bold bravado for one in such a precarious situation.
Do you have the photograph?
Ah! He deems us worthy to speak to.
You did not heed our advice.
There is alarm of fire. Surely you would not have me put the future king's life at risk.
If I had told him to stand at the edge of a bridge during an earthquake, he should do so. This fool has neither the judgment nor the wherewithal to know up from down unless he is told.
How dare you!
I will choose my words with incredible discernment. Why, we are in possession of the very item that could destroy your majesty's future.
You wouldn't dare reveal the photograph.
Wouldn't we? I have little time for imbeciles, so do listen carefully. In the future, use a bit of discretion. Upon your shoulders will rest the fate of many. I think it wise to choose a group of more intellectually resourceful people to guide and steady your hand. Take my advice, and your reign will be long. Ignore it, and you shall have a pitiable end.
And the photograph?
Ah, yes. Here it is. Though, I think on second thought, we shall hold on to it for safekeeping, and trust that it will be safe, so long as your majesty does not decide to disregard our advice for a second time.
But this is blackmail.
Think of it more as a moral contract.
If I wanted to, I could destroy you both.
Oh, your majesty, I have faced far more dangerous people than you. You are an inconvenience. I took your case because I was bored. And more importantly, because this gentleman happened to come along and pique my interest. Most fortunate for you. I would not look a gift horse in the mouth.
I suggest that you leave. May your reign be fruitful and contemplative.
If Watson were here, she would lead this all into some grand escapade.
Ah, so Watson is a biographer of yours.
Yes, though her words far too demeaning of what she does. She's been my companion for quite some time.
I feel quite similarly for John.
You have a friend named Watson as well?
Why, it is one of many things that we appear to have in common, Miss Holmes.
I feel a great deal of who I am is thanks to Jane.
There is a goodness to Watson, both, it would seem, that cannot be quantified. Always, they ring true.
Every time.
You know, I can scarcely imagine many people wishing to cross the street to greet me. And yet, Watson would.
People, Mr. Holmes, are usually quite boring. Would you indulge me with a little game?
And what did you have in mind?
I think it most curious that there are two Sherlock Holmes, and now it would seem two Watsons as well. I wish to see how similar we are. Tell me about myself.
I'll admit, I am intrigued by it. Else, I would not have assisted in this rather unremarkable case. Very well. I will play your game. If you will in turn tell me about myself.
Finally, something exciting. Yes.
Excellent. Your parents died when you were very young. It led to a desire to question the world that made so little sense. You were ferried off to numerous relatives, and yet you show no signs of endearment towards any of them. An interesting paradox. Ah, money. You inherited incredible wealth, and nothing inspires one's family to be a caregiver more than the hope of money. Ah, there are chemical burns and ink smudges on your sleeves. You are as familiar with test tubes and Bunsen burners as you are the pen. And then there is the pocket watch. May I see, please?
Yes.
Prominent, and yet gingerly cared for. Ah, it is 3 hours ahead. And inside we have, to the dear young lady who has grown so much. I think of you as my own sister, J.W. Sister. Your sister. I apologize. I have often been told my methods go too far.
Perhaps I should have my turn now.
No.
You grew up alone, mentally if not literally. Your parents factored little in your life, save that you were nothing like them. Reserved, direct, and with a sense of stability when you care enough to demonstrate it. I have a brother.
Oh.
He is intelligent, but he inherited indolence based on your expression. And the pocket watch from a Miss Irene Adler. Interesting, given that you are poor people. But why? Because you are misunderstood? No, that would lead to despisement. You fear them. Fear what they are capable of. You understand them, and yet part of you wishes you couldn't. You never had anyone who cared for you until Watson. Perhaps this wasn't the wisest game. When one sees things so clearly, vulnerability become all the more prominent.
You are quite correct. Watson would weave a grand narrative out of this.
I wish you would write more realistic stories, instead of these outlandish tales, though knowing Watson should only do so in some dramatic fashion.
A climactic battle over some god-forsaken waterfall.
Would start with a chase across the country for a hopeful king, taken by some villain, Corbett's Smith.
Oh, no, he's far too capable. John Woodsley fits the bill so much better.
The one who was solitary cyclist?
Yes, of course. Who else? Oh, I can see Watson now, making some grand, fanciful story out of it.
He and Carruthers chasing a stolen bicycle. Watson would be so ludicrous. Anyone but those two. Moriarty.
Well, seeing as the train has stopped, I think the larger question at hand is what to do from here. I am returning to Baker Street.
As am I, which means one of us does not belong here. There must be an explanation for all this, though I confess I do not know one.
I suggest that we look into this matter. There are a myriad of possibilities that could explain what is...
Thank goodness, Mr. Holmes!
My dear, what is John?
Yes, please, you must come quick. Something is wrong.
Is he hurt? Where is he?
That's just it, Mr. Holmes. I don't know. Please, you have to find him. case I disturb something.
3, then try to remain calm.
3 individuals.
Judging by the gate, 2 females and 1 male. No Watson in mine. The other woman was invited in.
Uneven gait. Favored the left leg. Though it miraculously got better.
Do you smell that?
Sweet. Like sugar or honey.
Too strong, ether-like.
Ah, chlorohydrate.
James come fairly quickly. Lighted Bill John stood.
There was a struggle.
Ended quickly. A 4th person entered. Male.
And then, the 5th. They dragged out both John and Jane.
A note left behind. Cheap paper.
Entire book. There has been an addendum.
2 fingerprints. Given angle not by someone under their own volition. Our dear Watsons have been rendered unconscious.
There is a familiarity with the room. Many things were left undisturbed.
Drops of blood. Perfect for vestige of danger.
Oh, God!
The note says he's alive.
But how did this happen? Who would do this?
Let us put together what we have. John was at Baker Street, waiting for someone.
Me. I was supposed to meet him for lunch, but I was delayed. If only I had gotten here sooner.
If that were the case, we'd likely be wherever John is now and unable to help. Jane entered. There was a brief discussion, pacing, and eventually someone came to the door. John went to open it, assuming it was you. There was an urgency.
The woman was in distress, or at least appeared to be. John and Jane tried to help. Eventually, they served tea. But the tea had been tampered with. Chlorohydrate. John put up a fight, but he was outnumbered as 2 others came. Judging by their weight, I venture to say that one of them was a boxer of some sort, a ruffian. Unconscious, they dragged out both John and Jane and left behind this note.
For too long, the research of Leon Foucault has been wasted by one who refuses to take proper advantage. Since he refuses to divulge his secrets, we have been forced to intervene. If you want your brother returned, deliver his complete findings at Piccadilly Square, but then the handwriting changes. It's barely legible.
Our kidnapper, angry, deranged possibly.
Save my brother Leon, or John and Jane Watson die. This is far too much. I thought it was fanciful when you said that she was also Sherlock Holmes somehow, but now there is a Jane Watson as well. How could this be?
Unfortunately, we do not have time to ponder such questions. What is most illuminating is the paper itself. It is thin, tatters easily, and you'll notice a watermark.
Oh, E-R-G, it says.
Elridge Royal Graphics. There's a branch not far from here, Oxfordshire.
And Leon Foucault lives in Oxfordshire. Presumably he is the researcher in question.
But how would John get involved in such a matter?
I beg you do not tangle these 2 lines of thought, for there are 2 divergent lines. One is the kidnapping of Leon Foucault, and the other is the kidnapping of John and Jane. Though they are related, they are 2 distinct matters.
Please, I just want John back safe and sound. What should we do?
I suggest that we split our efforts. Mary, I would like you to investigate Elridge Royal Graphics. Learn all that you can. Why, even the slightest detail may be pivotal. It could mean the lives of several individuals.
We shall go to the home of Leon Foucault to learn more about him and his sister. She acts as though she knows both Mr. Holmes and myself, something that should be impossible. We'll meet at 5 p.m. in Shotterby Park.
This is all my fault. I should have come straight here. I wanted to surprise John with a pie. He'd been working so hard.
found one.
You are a courageous woman, and you have faced far greater than this. We cannot and will not fail, not when the ones we care about so much need us. Why, you bring a light to John that no one else can, and in this dark hour, he needs you now more than ever. And I know you will not disappoint him.
Of course not.
I knew you wouldn't shrink at the last.
Excellent. The game is afoot.
Jacobs is a brute even in a fair fight. I should have known better than try to stop him under the effects of chloral hydrate. Ugh.
So you knew the two men?
Yes, unfortunately. Ross and Elliot Jacobs. Two of the more questionable men I've ever had the misfortune of meeting while working with Holmes. Not exactly the most thoughtful, but all they require is money and they'll work for anyone. How long have you been awake?
About an hour, I think. I've been trying to loosen these restraints. Very little success.
Let me take a look. So far, it looks like all you've done is manage to bruise your wrists.
Desperation calls for drastic measures. Perhaps if you could reach...
Yes.
Oh, there.
I see. One second.
There. Let me...
Oh.
Oh, dear, that's quite the bruise. Looks like it rather hurts.
Good, because it hurts a great deal.
Glad you're in better spirits than I am.
I have found when faced with such challenges, a positive mindset does wonders. I don't suppose you have any idea where we are.
Unfortunately, no. I woke up here with a headache.
You certainly weren't made to escape easily.
Not at all. The walls and floor are quite smooth. They're made out of steel. The only source of light is coming from the doorway. It's a heavy door.
My word, these hinges are thicker than anything I've ever seen. What could possibly be the reason?
It looks as if we're in some sort of chamber. What are these pillars? Do you think they're decorative?
They are. They are a style that is foreign to me.
Well, a horrid thought just crossed my mind. Do you recall medical school? And they would teach about brain chemistry, how to treat imbalances.
I recall there were several methods suggested. Some medical, others psychological. Do you recall something about electrical currents? I begin now to see what you're driving at.
This is some sort of large electrical conduction chain. Judging by all these scorch marks on the floor, it's been used several times.
hurt anyone. Simply tell us what you discovered.
Let me collect myself. Elbridge Royale Graphics was founded by a man named Mayweather Elbridge. When I went into the main office, I spoke with Mayweather's former secretary. She was so kind. I noticed that she had a family, and from there I mentioned that I was a governess, and we struck up a conversation about her work. It was quite a shock when Mayweather passed away. He had led the company for so long, even going as far back as when it started in Bohemia. There was great concern over just who should take the reins of the business, and eventually Edward Elbridge, nephew of Mayweather, was selected.
What a sterling event.
My dear Miss Holmes, do not be so quick to dismiss. Pray, continue.
Unfortunately, it seems that Edward Elbridge does not possess the charismatic charms that Mayweather did. Many clients have been leaving the business, one after another. Even Miss Ackerman herself, that's the secretary, by the way, she is in the process of transitioning to a new employer as well.
I take it that the new Mr. Elbridge is not taking the matter well.
No, heavens no. All signs point to a man at his wit's end, and also I managed to procure this letter.
Perhaps I misjudged you, Miss Watson. Look at the handwriting. Note the singular way in which E's are written and hastily slanted T's. This is the same as the note left at Baker Street.
So you agree then? Mr. Elbridge kidnapped the scientist?
Yes, we have not been idle. Contacting Dr. Foucault's university yielded his home address. Mr. Holmes was quite deft with a pair of lockpicks and granted us entry into the doctor's home. He has quite the fondness for two things, quantum physics and his sister Evelyn.
His study was a treasure trove of information. You see, Evelyn and Leon were speculating on the existence of parallel universes. Why, worlds almost identical, save for, well, minute differences. It was a pretty little theory, which ceased to be theoretical as they began experimenting. You see, by synchronizing the natural electrical frequencies that all objects possess, they are able to bring objects from one world to this one, and vice versa.
They detail their progress thoroughly. It is an exquisite look into the logical mindscape of an individual, testing the limits of human understanding, and another way for constructing the impossible. Together we were able to reconstruct the series of events that led us here. You see, Leon Foucault regularly purchases notebooks for cataloguing his research from one company, Elbridge Royale Graphics. His journal details his conversationalist attitude. From there, it is not difficult to surmise that he would have, on occasion, spoken about a problem or breakthrough while purchasing supplies.
We know at some point his research attracted the attention of Mr. Elbridge. Why, Foucault received countless letters from the man asking to sell his revolutionary idea. Given the financial situation you have described, Mary, it is not hard to say that he intended to use this research to change his fortune.
I'm not sure I understand. How would knowing about Dr. Foucault's research help a printing company?
Imagine a company that would not need to purchase supplies, one that would have access to limitless resources. It would be a juggernaut of industry, and Mr. Elbridge's problems would instantly be solved. Save for the fact that Leon Foucault would not relinquish his method. Offers turned to threats, and finally to kidnapping. When Leon would not relinquish the method, his sister was targeted.
Then our course is clear. We must rescue Leon Foucault.
I agree. I suggest a ruse.
One that lures Mr. Elbridge away from Foucault.
Yes, strike at his pride. Why, we shall present him with a new client, one who wishes to meet to discuss terms of a long-term contract.
A touch of makeup and acting, and he will believe whatever we want him to. I think it's obvious that Leon is being held in
You're planning to outwit him?
Of course!
But why? The risk is far too great.
The man is vile. Look at the lengths he's willing to go to achieve success. A dramatic bit, poetic justice is more than called for.
No, I don't like it.
Think of what is at stake. A man like him cannot be allowed to run rampant.
I am thinking of what's at stake, and it is you both who are not. You always need to think of some clever means to succeed, and you're no different. You two are risking the lives of John and Jane. And you both know as well as I do that they would put the both of your lives above any silly personal grandstanding.
What would you suggest we do? The man
his research. Give it to him. I know I am asking a great deal, but this is not about some sense of pride or silly bauble. And do not try and browbeat me into thinking that I'm some fool who has let our emotions run rampant. I haven't. This is about two people you care about very much. I know you do. I know you both do. And please, I do not wish to live in a world without John. And I think you also do not wish to live in a world without John, or you without Jane.
Tell me, Miss Holmes, have you ever read a story that Watson has written about you?
Unfortunately, dreadfully inaccurate, Jane has the unforgiving habit of making me out to be this perfect, unfeeling machine.
I have often told John, it is a crime not to illustrate the mistakes I have made. Why, from those mistakes, a great deal could be learned.
Such as the one we were so carelessly about to make here. How right you are, Mary. There's a far greater need to consider, the lives of our two very dear friends.
Thank you, both of you.
Never say die.
You are incorrigible.
You sound like Mary. I don't suppose you found a loose panel yet, have you?
Yet. Whoever that woman was, she will rue the day she got on my bad side.
She was a fool to cross someone as determined as yourself. Holmes was here. I'd heard them. I'm sure they would have found a way out and relished in lording it over the police.
You always compare yourself to Holmes.
Did I? I hadn't noticed.
The first time either.
Sherlock Holmes is the legend. A detective, chemist, genius, who could see through a person in seconds while traveling across Europe. It's a little hard not to envy the man, or the woman.
I'm not really concerned about Holmes. More about you.
Me?
I see how you feel being the biographer to the great Holmes. You think even your wife is enamored of Holmes' life.
Mary is such a bright young woman, adventurous. She lives to explore.
What about you?
I enjoy an exhilarating afternoon every once in a while, but danger and risking one's own life loses their veneer after one has paid the price too often. I've seen my friends die, seen people I care about nearly die, seen the personal expression of calm that Holmes uses. It's nearly perfect, but every now and then, there's a crack. He knows he may not come back each time, but he goes anyway. I saw that same look on Mary. I saw her go too far. I held her thinking she was going to die. I lied and said, "You're right."
You know it's not the adventure she loves.
Her face lit up when she was asked to be a botanist for a charade. She was reading 2 texts at the same time, just to prepare. She was so happy.
Where were you?
Standing right beside her, trying desperately to hold on to some semblance of order and sanity.
Thought so.
Judging from your tone, you don't agree. Tell me, what should I have done?
You were just like me. With a grand heart, so much so that it drives your every move. I would have done the same to protect those I care about. I have done the same. Do you want to know what it is Mary's after?
Yes, more than anything.
You.
She already has me.
She wants to know you. All of you. She doesn't long for adventure. She longs longs for an adventure with you. There is such life and vitality to you. You are a man of action. I've seen it here. She's your wife. She's also your partner.
I don't want to risk our lives just so we can be together.
You don't have to. But you cannot keep her at arm's length because your words should shatter. You cannot protect her from everything.
She told me the same thing. I thought she just said that so I should let her have one adventure, one chance to experience the thrill. Oh, I see. She wants to experience that thrill. Me. Fool.
Not a fool, but certainly foolish.
You know, you are wiser than me. Perhaps we are not the same after all.
No, I can assure you I've made a great many mistakes. I've had the luxury of having to live through them. Sometimes I wonder if all I've done has helped.
You don't mean that young Miss Holmes you were referring to earlier, do you?
She hasn't had the easiest life.
She's like a sister to you, isn't she?
Yes.
Don't doubt yourself. Anyone who has you in their life is certainly more fortunate for it.
Kind of you to say.
Why don't you agree?
Because I've tried to help her be less reclusive. Trust people, not push yourself so much. We don't always agree, and I wonder if she resents me for it.
Why do you think she would resent you?
She had not. Terrible woman, who only cared about her inheritance. She didn't feed Sherlock, wouldn't let her out. She could be very cold because of it. I think I was the first friend she ever made. Why in the world are you laughing?
I didn't think Sherlock had a friend. Not really, until he met me. Please, allow me to share some wisdom from one who's long endeared the mood swings of Sherlock Holmes. I don't think she resents you. I think she trusts you. She can be a bit thick-headed sometimes.
Tad.
More than a tad. But despite it all, I doubt either of them would keep anybody close to them that they didn't trust and respect a great deal. I trust in Sherlock Holmes, even though I've never met her.
Well, it won't help much when we're alone together. Thank you, Dr. Watson.
Anytime, Dr. Watson.
Oh, no, you.
Miss Holmes and Mr. Holmes, I must admit I thought you would be here sooner. I also thought you would have the manners to wait for me to open the door.
I'm afraid my concern for decorum was overridden by a sense of distress when you chose to kidnap Dr. Watson.
A necessary step to ensure that my brother Leon is returned.
Necessary? Madam, it is necessary to do many things. Kidnapping innocent people is never necessary.
It is if I want my brother returned. You of all people should know this, seeing how you barged in here looking for your companions.
She is deranged.
I think it's only wise that you reveal John and Jane first.
And this is not a negotiation. Ross! Massage the location of my brother from these two Sherlocks.
Clearly, Miss Falco. Right, let's be having it, Sherlock Holmeses.
Oh, I can tell. What a pleasure this will be.
It would seem your friends have returned unsuccessful again.
Again? What on earth are you talking about?
Elliot! Go help your brother!
Yes, Miss Falco. I'm gonna enjoy making you pay for getting me nicked in Hastings.
care about.
Watson! Don't listen to her, she's mad!
I want my brother. I'll bring him to me now.
Threats will get you back!
This is not a cerebral debate. Bring me Leon.
Put the gun down right now, or I...
Abby, stop this! Oh, Leon's dead. I know it, and you two won't tell me because you want to save your precious John and Jane. Well, it doesn't matter because I can bring Leon back. I can keep trying again and again and bring Leon back. I'll keep trying again and again.
Where did you send them?
It doesn't matter. All that matters is Leon's dead.
This is your fault.
My fault? I have done everything I could. Everything!
Everything but the obvious. Nanny was right. The best way to save your brother was to simply give up the research. But that did not cross your mind. Not even once. You kept repeating the same mistake over and over. You held the final piece. You! Look what you brought. 3 innocent lives cast adrift for what?
No!
For what?
Leon is dead. You cannot fathom the pain having to sit there and watch him die over again and again.
So you furthered your brother's research. Made it so you could bring people into different parallel universes without them knowing, didn't you?
I did. I thought if one Sherlock Holmes couldn't help me, that 2 could. But I needed a reason for you to work together. So I kidnapped John and Jane, and I brought them here because I knew if anything could get you to do the impossible, it was them. And well, you failed again, but it doesn't matter. I can keep trying.
You did not fail. In your haste, you did not listen. We saved your brother.
Leon's alive?
Yes. Mary convinced us to parley with Mr. Eldridge. We tried, but we did not have the final notebook detailing his research. It was here, outside of our grasp.
But I needed it to finish his research.
You are lucky then that Miss Holmes was able to make do without it.
Mr. Eldridge was determined to restore his company to what it was under his uncle. It was then that I recalled he started his company in Bohemia. How fortunate that Mr. Holmes and I had indebted ourselves to the nation's future king. We were able to strike up an arrangement between the prince and Mr. Eldridge long enough to free your brother. Unfortunately, Mr. Eldridge was shortly taken into custody by Inspector Lestrade. It seems an anonymous tip was given to Scotland Yard.
Leon's alive. You did it. You did it.
No! We did not. Do not take joy in this moment. You cannot have this victory. You who have taken so much already. No. The only reason I see to spare you is because our friends would not wish us to become the monster that you are. Why, if they were here, they would say there is hope for you. Hope that you can grow and change. But they are not here. And that, madam, is because of you.
I
accept it. I refuse to. I've been robbed of all I care for. For what? For the happiness of one who feels nothing for others. For the happiness of one who feels nothing. Not unlike... It will never be the same without her.
It could never have been the same.
If only I had all the answers. Jane always made it seem like Sherlock Holmes could see the machinations of the world. I feel adrift, blind.
No one can truly see all. John and Jane, they created a comforting thought from the friendships that they formed with us. It is reassuring to know that there is someone who can unravel any problem.
If only I did have all the answers. This world is so similar yet different from my own.
May I offer you a bit of advice?
Yes.
We are both cast adrift in this new reality. It is unsure and untested. You know, Watson had a gift for being wise without the understanding for why. He once quoted a passage to me, some poetic nonsense that frankly belabored a more salient truth, which I think was this: the world made more sense to John because he had companionship, another upon whom he could count on. Sherlock Holmes was that one fixed point in his reality that he could rely on. And having met you, I couldn't agree more.
What are you saying?
Baker Street is as much your home as it is mine. I seem to have developed Watson's ability to ramble unendingly. You are no Watson. Watson was irreplaceable and unequal. He was reliable, loyal, diligent. And you are thoughtful, experimental, and resourceful. Why? You are what Watson Watson could not be. The world. It makes more sense to me, with Sherlock Holmes by my side.
Work together? An unusual idea, given you do not like people.
Perhaps Watson has had a greater effect than I care to admit.
You once said no one would cross the street to meet either of us.
I was mistaken. I would cross the street to meet you, Miss Holmes. But then again, you are not boring.
Very well then. Heartless. Agreed?
Yes. And now, this story and these notebooks. Shall we keep them?
Yes. They can be a reminder of our failure, the dangers of hubris, the dear friends, lost.
Ah. Lost. My dear Holmes. But not gone.
I can see it now! We're almost there!
It looks different. Smaller?
It doesn't matter. It's Baker Street. It doesn't matter what it looks like. If it's Baker Street, then Sherlock Holmes is not far off.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to have you all here for Act 2. I hope you enjoyed the show so far, and here we go.
Poirot was specifically asked by great authority to assist in the matter of the utmost importance. For such a case, I thought it the right to be transcribed.
I'm not your secretary, I'm your assistant.
Secretary, assistant, I do English in your choice of words. Seriously said. No.
£15.
Pardon?
The difference between a secretary and an assistant is £15 a year, in addition to not working on holiday.
Miss Lemon, please. Here comes the gentleman who was for my assistance.
Ah, and that would make you his assistant then now, wouldn't it? Sure to get holidays off in writing.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poirot. I can't tell you how grateful I am you came in on such short notice.
For Hercule Poirot, it is nothing.
Well, yes, well, perhaps you should have me punch your train.
Certainly.
Sir?
Mon Dieu, what have you done?
He's just punching a hole in the ticket.
Well, I can see that, but it is all round.
What do you mean all wrong?
Allow me. To properly punch a hole in the train ticket, it must be geometrically centered.
Why?
Was the most important reason of all. Aesthetic appeal.
I don't think it matters where the ticket is punched.
And that is why you are a secretary. Now, may I please have my train ticket handled properly?
Allow me. Now, you might say your ticket is holier than thou.
Well, of course it is. You put 15 holes in it.
Perhaps we may continue.
Has this idiotic stop concluded?
Oh, Your Majesty! Begging your pardon, sir. I have found a detective to assist with the matters.
Is this him?
I am Hercule Poirot.
You're unknown to me.
I am the world's greatest detective.
Quite sure you are. The last pair of world's greatest detectives were more trouble than they were worth.
Our detectives are wrong.
Never mind. As for you, if my property is not returned, you shall face dire consequences.
Oui, that's what I brought Mr. Poirot.
Wonderbar. See that this fumbling French fool finds my belongings.
But, monsieur, I am Belgian.
Yeah. Rather bitter man. I wonder what was lost. Perhaps he isn't getting paid the 15 pounds he deserves either.
Where do you go on about 15 pounds?
Wishful thinking, Mr. Poirot. Wishful thinking.
You English are quite odd. I see now that the case you wish for me to handle involves stolen belongings. May I ask, what was taken from the French?
How did you know he was a prince?
Well, it is no great secret. Earlier, you misspoke and almost said Your Majesty.
I will keep that fact to yourself, Mr. Poirot.
Can I trust you to keep a secret, Miss Lemon?
Oh, yes. Them's the word.
Wonderful. Now, I ask again. What was taken?
Some rare alloy that was discovered in his country. He brought it back with him to have it inspected by scientists.
And when was it stolen?
This morning, an hour after everyone boarded the train.
And where was it being stored?
He claims he had it in his cabin, locked at all times. He said he only left once to fetch breakfast.
Well, that doesn't leave much time for the fact.
But there's more.
More?
Yes, the scientists supposed to inspect the alloy had all her research stolen as well.
Interesting. Miss Lemon, I trust you've been jotting on this down.
Mr. Poirot, I hardly took you seriously when you asked me to record these events. Surely you could see how fruitless that would be. Well, that's an improvement.
Mary? Mary! Where am I? Sir, how did you get on this train? Train? I was just at Baker Street.
Monsieur, take a moment. Clear your head.
What is all this noise? Impossible!
You, madam. This is all because of you. Where are they?
So, whatever is the matter, I'm sure we can discuss this rationally.
You're unhappy.
Mr. Poirot!
How did you get back here? Who left you? Holmes?
Holmes? Where are they? What have you done with them? I insist upon an answer.
With violence? How like you? All brute force and no thought!
More than enough for you, you vile snake! Stop!
Oh, he is gone.
Madam, it's rather evident you have some questions to answer.
And who are you to ask questions of me?
I am Hercule Poirot. I am a detective, and I must insist you answer my questions.
And if I refuse?
You are clearly a gifted individual. Surely you know what will happen to you. You will be detained one way or another. I will get my answers, mon ami.
You know different than the rest.
We shall see. If you would please take a seat. Now, I will ask the conductor to kindly fetch us a pot of tea. And for Miss Dillon to please take notes.
Ready, Mr. Poirot?
Magnifique. If you would please tell us your name.
Evelyn Foucault.
The sister of Leon Foucault.
Yes.
This name is not known.
My brother's a renowned physicist. He's made great strides into the previously unknown field called quantum mechanics.
I'm afraid that's not how I'm familiar with his name. Wasn't your brother kidnapped and then later mysteriously escaped?
Yes.
No.
No.
No, Mademoiselle Foucault. You are lying to me. Do not take a role for a stupid man. What really happened?
I don't know. My brother was kidnapped, and then outside forces decided to pull political favors, and my brother was released and dumped on the side of the road. He was told never to speak about what happened, or else I would be taken.
You don't strike me as the kind of woman who would simply accept that fact.
I did everything I could to save him. I did everything.
Of that, I have no doubt. What was the cost of such an action? I wonder. Was it worth it?
I found that desperate situations can reveal a great deal about a person and their convictions.
Interesting. Allow me to draw some conclusions. Judging by your attire, you are a scientist. Is one not a research student?
Yes.
What was taken and when did you first notice it was gone?
My equipment, notebooks, nothing that would have been of any value to anyone that wasn't familiar with my research. It was taken shortly after the search began for the prince, the gentleman's stolen alloy.
You're lying again?
I knew he was royalty. We'd agreed to meet to see if his alloy had any value.
And did it?
Miss Lemon, I am asking the questions
You
here.
need to ask faster.
It did, but not because of its luster. It was due to its electromagnetic properties. It would have been pivotal in not only my work, but many scientific endeavors.
And who knew like this?
Nobody. I'd only met briefly outside the train.
And it is for us then to ask the question.
No.
Who is the gentleman who suddenly appeared?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Well, he seemed to know you quite well.
Indeed, he was quite anxious to find this. What was the word he used again?
Holmes.
Oui. Is this name not ring any bells?
I'm afraid not.
Well, thank you for your time.
Rather reticent woman.
Indeed, she knows a great deal more than she is letting on.
Your tea, sir.
Thank you.
Note the jasmine aroma.
Oh, quel dommage. Only 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, I'm afraid I must bid adieu to the tea.
What? Well, I just finished brewing it.
That is saying you are not going to say it. But that is my burden to bear. There are other guests aboard this train, are there not?
Yes. Lord, there are. Honestly, it feels more like a circus train, if you ask me.
Stay early. Let us meet in the Come, Miss Lemon.
Mr. Poirot, I do not come running when called. A bit more courteous, if you please.
Miss Lemon, please. The little Brazils are hard at work. train. I'm sure you want to inspect all the captain's territory.
Ah, there you are. Any new developments in Stubble Keeper?
Keeper, is that not a fish? Mr. Nerman, I see no fish here.
It's an American term. It means crime.
Seems this Belgian fellow's a little slow on the uptake. Olivia Albert, socialite and reporter.
Bonjour, I am Hercule
Never
Poirot.
mind, you're boring. Now you, ma'am, you look like you know what's happening.
But I am the one who's going to speak.
Quiet already. Now, ma'am, what is your name and what is your view on the shocking event?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak out of turn. I'm certain that we know no more than anyone else on this train.
Ah, very prudent of you, madam.
Thank you, and you are?
Ah, Professor Bentley Ordo at your service.
Miss Felicity Lemon. I am Mr. Poirot's assistant.
Secretary.
Quite the stick in the mud, ain't you? You certainly can find a more mindful lawyer.
Americans can be so pushy. Oui.
Excuse me, my mustached friend, but I couldn't help but notice you have a loose thread.
Milton, now, where?
It's there on the back of your jacket.
Come on.
Difficult man to be employed by, eh?
Well, difficulties are made to be overcome.
Quite the patient viewpoint, too. You continue to impress me.
Patience is necessary in my line of work. I'm sure you understand, Miss Elliot, being a female reporter.
I find the work to be its own reward, though it's true that a sense of patience certainly helps.
Something I can't help but notice your companion seems to be lacking, Miss Lemon.
Have no fear. I have found the culprit. Voila, the trend.
Mr. Poirot.
Ah,
Congratulations, you found a threat and make criminals around the world shriek in terror at your abilities.
Well, I, for one, am glad you found it. Now the stain won't be so obvious.
Then, impossible. Quickly, I need assistance.
You know, speaking of assistance over your loud companion, you are an assistant, aren't you, Miss Lemon? And I couldn't help but notice how capable you are. Surely you could find who's responsible for these thefts all on your own.
Assistant in assistance is a rather poor play on words and a very obvious attempt to try to get on my better side.
Biologists, you'll have to forgive it. Brilliant, but socially inept.
So you two know each other then?
Everyone on this train knows each other, buzzing around like bees to find out who did the deed.
Yeah, we met at breakfast when the conductor was having, well, a panic attack.
Why do you ask such embarrassing questions when only so obvious? Now, away to club.
I don't seem to have one, Mr. Poirot. Why don't you ask the conductor?
Somebody, anyone.
Oh, I don't have one, sir.
Cinco and Michael, this is an emergency.
You know, I couldn't help but notice that he seems preoccupied by pigment. It really reminded me of, Roba Sarah.
Beg your pardon.
He means butterflies.
You see, blue butterflies are unique in that they do not rely on pigment to appear blue.
Then how is it done?
Oh, it's done by the reflection of light off of the wings of the majestic butterfly.
Useless.
It's quite fascinating.
Hardly. You did learn a lot from looking at something from a new perspective.
Can you give us an example?
Oh, why, certainly. Let's take a look at Mr. Poirot over here. You see, from behind, I would have never been able to see the loose button. Thank you, Mr. Poirot, for turning around.
Why? Why did you ramble around and not simply tell me this on set?
Because you didn't ask.
Enough. Anita. Anything for Anita.
Where are you going?
To retrieve my needle and thread.
But you don't sew, Mr. Poirot. Excuse me. Mr. Poirot!
Wait! Oh, please don't run! We're about to go through a tunnel!
Jane, where am I? Jane, you're on a train. All right, you're pale. Who are you? How do you know who I am? How is an apologies, Watson? I had no idea you'd be cast away. Sherlock? Sherlock, it really is you. I was a fool, Jane. I put you in danger and I should be dragged from here to Charing Cross to make amends. Never again. It's all right. I'm
Though, I feel as if I already know you.
Johnny Mary were right. He's just like you. Watson!
No! No!
We have three. Is everyone okay?
She's gone.
There was a woman! And she appeared, and then suddenly disappeared right in thin air.
To send the air. Just like the English gentleman from earlier.
Englishman? Where?
It was in the other car when we went through the tunnel. He was looking for a gentleman by the name of Holmes.
What an exciting story. I simply have to find that one.
Why, it's a phenomenon worth recording. I could be famous!
What an odd pair. Otto then missed the car on the previous.
Jacques Strain was very apt. But now Poirot must sit.
Why don't we inspect the cabins?
What a busy benefit. I know so many people have bumbled around and any evidence has already been destroyed.
Well, then what can we do?
Think. What do we know about Miss Poirot?
Only the scant bit of detail that I read about in the paper. Seems her brother was kidnapped and then later released. It just seemed all too good to be true.
And why was his brother kidnapped?
Don't know.
It was a rhetorical question. He was a scientist. Something in his research must have been the cause.
Still at it, I see.
But of course.
I do hope after this I won't owe you any favors, assuming, of course, you manage to solve the case.
Favors, I can assure you, Mr. Poirot would never expect anything illicit from you.
Power is a corrupting thing, especially when one is desperate.
And who was so desperate that they needed your help that badly?
Simpler question would be, who is not so desperate?
Then most recently.
I see no harm in telling you. A few months ago, I had the occasion to employ the services of a certain Sherlock Holmes. Suffice it to say that the matter proved to be much more complex than I had first imagined. In the end, I had to negotiate a deal with a paper baron for the release of some scientist.
Is it by chance Leon Foucault?
Indeed. Miss Foucault was very grateful, and that is why she has agreed to assist me in determining the value of this alloy.
Did you say Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, well, to both of them, yeah.
Both of them.
A man and a woman?
Mm-hmm. I never met two more peculiar individuals. I myself thought that Sherlock Holmes was a man. I first became aware of him through the writings of his biographer, Wilson, was it? Anyway, Watson.
Well, thank you, Your Majesty. You have been quite helpful.
Where are you going now?
To speak with that most curious American gentleman. A professor.
It must be a quality all detectives possess.
And what would that be, Your Majesty?
An utter lack of respect for royalty.
Yeah. It must be rather difficult. One's lineage is all one has going for oneself.
seemed to be functioning perfectly when I untied the device.
It is based on electromagnetic fields. Look at the geological survey of the mountain, page 67.
Ah, yes. Known to contain vast quantities of copper, iron, and lead. Well, we must consider Maxwell's equations then.
Applying them to the coin shape of the tunnel, we've induced a secondary magnetic field.
What a fool I've been.
Save the castigation for later. We must ensure that we can recalibrate Foucault's device.
I must remember to set the conductor for this key to the camera. Ah, idiot. Mr. Holmes and Miss Holmes.
I would congratulate you, but our reputations precede us, unlike yours.
Such vitriol is not necessary.
Oh, Mr. Poirot, I'm afraid decorum is far beyond us at this point.
Detaining me? Surely we can discuss this.
No.
I know you are trying to save your friend.
Proceed with the utmost care, Mr. Poirot.
You are both quite desperate to stray this Watson.
Watson!
But of course. Have you considered the cost of this action? I know it involves Foucault's machine and the prince's arrow. It all seems quite dangerous.
I challenge you to show the same level of restraint when something you care for so desperately is within your grasp.
Platitudes of such a melodic quality, until one must face dire consequences themselves.
Please, I beg you both to stop.
Goodbye, Mr. Poirot.
Well, this is certainly not one. Leon! How?
The conductor gave me a key as well. Look at you, Mr. Poirot, running off without a plan. Not very thoughtful of you now, was it?
20 pounds.
I beg your pardon.
You may have the extra 20 pounds a year and whatever little title suits you.
Oh, generous. Now, where were those two going?
They're planning on using Foucault's machine. They intend to do so before the train reaches its next tunnel.
Well, how on earth would you know that?
It is because a little circle several times on the map right next to it.
I see. It is rather obvious now, isn't it? How Of course. Now, where are you going?
To find Miss Foucault, she is the key to all of this.
Approximately 3 minutes before we pass through the tunnel. Are you ready?
According to calculations, everything should be functioning perfectly. Watson!
Holmes, we found you again! Oh, my dear Jane Watson, I'm afraid that's not quite true. We managed to bring you back to this world more by luck than anything else. You and the other Holmes are safe. Foucault hasn't harmed either of you. It's all that matters. Who cares about us? The important thing is you. You were wounded. It would take more than a grazing wound to delay discovery. A friend of mine told me all that has happened. He thought you and the other Holmes were once sent to another universe. We were left in that holding house, utterly alone. We made our way to Baker Street. Mrs. Hudson was there. No one else.
That's when we realized we were in the other Sherlock's universe. We tried desperately to get you back for months, but fortunately, we were unsuccessful.
It does not matter, Watson. You are both safe. And we can finally put this ordeal to rest.
Is that emotion I see?
It is.
If they keep this up, no one will believe they're calculating the tone.
No! There is still a chance. There is still hope!
It appears the device was damaged during operation. Look, the current is being inhibited. There.
Ah, if these two wires were reconnected, that could restore functionality.
But we don't have any wire. What? No, you can't. It'd be lethal.
The human body is an excellent conductor of electricity. It is the only way to save John, Jane, and Mary.
It'd be too great a cost.
But until one considers the cold calculus. 1 Sherlock Holmes for 3 Watsons. Why, 1 Watson alone is worth 10 of me. 3, it takes any uncertainty away. You will have your companion and your dear friend back.
You are a fool.
But I am no Watson.
I could not exchange you for her.
My dear Holmes, I was not meant for the banality of life. The last great adventure awaits for me, and for you, many more grand adventures. The world wasn't meant for 2 Sherlock Holmes. Why, we are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
You detest Shakespeare.
But I have learned to appreciate it because of you. Goodbye, Miss Holmes. Sherlock. Would you please tell John that I could not have a better companion in all the world than he, and I could not ask for a better partner than you.
Oh, no, me, I will not if I were you. This is no cost to be repaid with your life.
Mr. Poirot, the cost, it has already been far too great.
Well, if you will not listen to me, listen to Mademoiselle Foucault.
Mr. Poirot, I must admit I thought you were lying when you said there were 2 Sherlocks aboard this train. It would seem that you two are willing to go to great lengths to save your friends.
Pontificate later. Now is the time for action.
And why should I help them?
Need I remind you of the lengths you are willing to go for your person? You as a reason they are here.
It seems to be operational, and the alloy has the proper conductivity. I see you stole that as well, too.
No accusations, only haste.
I don't know why it wouldn't work, although it has been heavily modified to add the alloy attachment. There are several rivets and screw holes.
Holes?
Yes, holes, weren't you listening?
What?
There and there.
C'est magnifique! So holes! C'est not geometric centered!
The change in the wire length would affect the amperage, thus not allowing the machine to generate quite enough force. You could correct it by
Haste! It's going to hurt.
We're back!
No!
How did you bring us back?
They did not. What did?
Who are you?
Hercule Poirot. World's greatest detective.
Jane Watson, would you have me that magnifying glass over there? Haven't found another case already, have you? Surely you can see the benefit in taking a rest? My mind is like an engine. If it does not exert itself regularly, it will fall into disrepair.
Ah, what do you make of it? Oh, not you too, Holmes.
You can't change them, and I should think that you would scarcely want to. And besides, don't you have an adventure to be writing about, dear?
Indeed he does. A collaborative story.
You are working with John.
Yes, we formed a writing partnership. So far, I'm quite pleased.
There!
Just what are you two up to?
Mr. Holmes and I suspected that John and Jane had formed a writing partnership. Further, we believe their works to be locked away in this book, not to be unveiled until much later.
We decided to put Miss Holmes's lock-picking skills to the test and obtain a sneak preview.
So you knew, all along, we were collaborating.
Of course they did.
You could have just asked to take a look, old man.
Oh, of course they never would.
Messieurs et madames, I would like to invite you all to dinner with myself and Mrs. Lemon.
Oh, do be quiet!
They're busy dissecting John and Jane's new story.
He felt a great sense of awe. Oh, pure supposition and presumption.
The electricity, so fluid, like liquid, scientifically impossible.
It was necessary for the story.
Watson, you have eroded the very poignant logical principles of this case to suit a fairy tale.
It is far more captivating.
Captivating to whom? Only one seeking delight and entertainment.
Oh, Watson. But if you think you can do better than pick up a pen and write a story yourself.
Well, I would, but my energies are required elsewhere. But trust, I could easily put to shame any frivolity that you have written.
Well, I, for one, would like to see the great logical machines try to capture the humanity and nuance of a case.
I understand the human condition more than enough to write an engaging and compelling story. I have written before.
We should work together. Tell me, have you ever heard of the lion's mane jellyfish?
Yes, it is the largest species of jellyfish, quite the beast. That could be the means of death. And not only would it be imaginative, but also biologically informative.
How exciting!
That makes no sense.
One would read it.
You English are all quite off.
Yes, but it makes life far more grand.
Oh, Mary, you couldn't be more right. I say, then, why don't you join us for dinner?
An idea so brilliant, it could have been thought of by Poirot himself. We ain't.
Mr. Poirot, in your experience, how do you solve a case?
By sitting, thinking, and conversing with others.
Oh, how gregarious of you. Jane, John, I need you both to lie down on the floor. Perfectly still. What's over floor?
Why, a man's life depends upon your valiant cooperation.
What man?
The fictional one we're writing about. There, that's perfect. You agree?
Perfect for what?
Oh, your deaths, of course. Wonderful. Positioned just so they die simultaneously. Oh, splendid.
I think the matter is all a bit implausible.
I agree. I don't see what any of this has to do with jellyfish.
Please, I've never seen the two of them so happy. Let them have this moment.
Well, if you think it is best, but should we be prepared for dinner now?
Ah, Mr. Poirot, you are just the man that we need. Would you kindly crawl on the floor?
Roll on the floor! Miss Lemon, say handkerchief. This floor, it is so dirty.
Miss Lennon, could you stand there for me, please?
I see why I must write my own story. It will include none of this nonsense. Here out of their mind.
Mary! Oh, what is it? Would you kindly join your husband on the ground in death?
Oh, I would be glad to.
fire break soon.
Miss Lemon, the soup is a little grisette. They should be preserved while they are most fresh.
Perhaps we should find you a physician skilled in vivisection.
What? You are making fun of me, are you not?
Oh, Mr. Poirot, I would never make fun of the world's greatest detective. Now, let's start from the top. The case of the duplicate detectives. There were two.
No. Yes. So to Sherlock Holmes' parallel universe magic machine. Adventure.
Right, you would never call this a case. The adventure of duplicate detectives. Now, let me just go back and correct every single page.
Every single page. Miss Lemon, let me see what you have written. Miss Lemon, this is not about a Hercule Poirot. It is about a Sherlock Holmes.
Well, at least I didn't say you were French.
Percy was a little gift.
Speaking of little gifts, an extra £30 a year could hasten this process.
I would rather not. Sounds expensive.
Well, then I'm afraid this would take a very long time to rewrite.